Good evening and welcome. Tonight, let the chill of winter wrap around you like a soft blanket as we step into a world of snow, frost, and ancient magic. Follow Aelon, an elf drawn by the whispers of a hidden forest that appears only in winter, a place of secrets, creatures of old, and enchantments as timeless as the stars. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let this gentle tale carry you into a peaceful slumber. Let's begin. The first snowfall of winter drifted softly over the elven village, like whispers layered in frost. Aelin watched the delicate flakes as they fell, drifting down like faint breaths from an ancient world. The village, already blanketed in silence, felt even quieter beneath this fresh, otherworldly hush. Elves moved with reverence as they completed their evening tasks, but Aelin's thoughts were elsewhere, held captive by a mystery that haunted his winters. For as long as he could remember, he had heard the tale of a forest that appeared only when winter descended, hidden from all eyes except those it chose to reveal itself to. It was said that this forest, known as the Winter's Secret, concealed creatures of old magic, beings shaped from frost and twilight, and bound by enchantments as ancient as time. Some villagers spoke of it in hushed tones, while others dismissed it as a ghostly legend. But Aelin knew somehow that it was real. Every year, he felt its call, a silent pull in his heart, a whisper under the blanket of snow. This year he had decided he would find it. As night deepened and the village lights flickered out one by one, Aelin set out alone, wrapped in a cloak the color of midnight. His footfalls left faint impressions in the snow, which the wind soon swept away, erasing any trace of his passage. He moved quietly, slipping through the silent trees, his breaths merging with the mist in the air. The world around him was a tapestry of white and silver, a quiet kingdom where shadows stretched and merged, hiding secrets within their depths. The snowfall thickened as he moved further from the village, and soon he was enveloped in a cloud of swirling, enchanted flakes. They brushed against his face, cool yet strangely comforting, as if urging him forward. He walked for hours, following no path, but trusting the unspoken promise of the winter night. The cold seeped into his bones, but he felt strangely warmed by a growing sense of anticipation. In the stillness, he felt something watching him, waiting. At last, he reached a frozen meadow where the moonlight cast an otherworldly glow over the snow. There, across the field, he saw a faint shimmer in the distance, a soft, glistening light that beckoned, delicate as a breath. He knew instinctively that this was it. He had found the edge of the winter secret. The air grew colder, a chill so deep it felt like it whispered through his bones. Yet beneath the frost, he sensed a warmth, a life force woven into the snow and silence. As he stepped forward, The trees began to shift, their trunks growing taller, their branches heavier with snow that sparkled as if dusted with stardust. A soft breeze carried the scent of pine and ice, wrapping around him like a protective charm. Alan paused at the threshold, his heart racing with a strange mixture of awe and reverence. He knew somehow that to enter the winter's secret was to cross into a realm both sacred and wild, a place that existed beyond time and beyond the knowledge of his kin. He could feel the eyes of the trees upon him, silent sentinels of this hidden grove, watching, measuring his intentions. A single step forward, and the quiet forest opened to him, welcoming him into its secrets. The further he ventured, the more the world he left behind faded, replaced by an uncanny silence that felt almost alive. Shadows deepened, yet a faint, ghostly light filled the forest, illuminating the snow-covered trees and casting a glimmer over the frost-etched ground. Each step felt like an invocation, a pledge of trust between him and the enchanted land he sought. The mystery that had once been a mere whisper in the snow was now real, tangible, alive around him. In that moment, as Alan walked deeper into the winter's secret, he understood that he was part of a story much older than himself, bound to the magic of winter and the legends that lingered in the chill. The forest loomed around Alan, ancient and otherworldly, as if it had grown not from soil, but from dreams and memory. Each step drew him deeper into its spell, and with each footfall, the air grew colder, heavier, wrapping around him like an invisible cloak. Yet a strange warmth lingered, seeping from the shadows, as though the forest itself were alive and aware of his presence. Alan's breath hung in the air, forming wisps that vanished into the darkness. The trees here were unlike any he had seen, their trunks impossibly tall, their branches arching like the arms of watchful giants. They were cloaked in thick frost that shimmered in the dim moonlight, casting strange patterns over the snow-covered ground. Each tree seemed etched with secrets, lines of ice that shifted and changed as he passed, as though the forest were trying to speak in a language older than words. He felt a pull, a silent invitation to press forward, as if something within the forest was waiting for him. Snow crunched beneath his boots, the only sound in a world hushed and frozen. Every so often, a gust of wind would stir the trees, and the frost-covered branches would rustle softly, like whispered words carried on the breeze. The deeper he ventured, the more he sensed a rhythm, a pulse within the silence. This was no ordinary forest. It breathed and moved in harmony with the winter night. It seemed to shift around him, opening paths that led deeper into its heart. Alan felt as though he were being guided, drawn further along by an invisible thread. He let himself follow, trusting in the quiet strength of the trees and the magic woven into the air. At last, He reached a grove where the snow sparkled like crushed diamonds, casting a faint luminescence over everything. Alan paused, entranced by the beauty of it. He reached out to touch one of the frost-laden branches, and as his fingers brushed the delicate crystals, he felt a spark, a flicker of life beneath the cold surface. The forest was not merely a place. It was a being, an ancient entity bound to the magic of winter, guarding its secrets with a fierce and silent vigilance. Ahead, a faint, eerie glow beckoned him forward. Alan followed, moving quietly, his heart pounding with a mixture of awe and anticipation. As he approached the source of the light, he saw a sight that filled him with wonder and unease. In the center of the grove, nestled among the snow-covered roots of an ancient tree, was a crystalline veil, an ethereal curtain of frost that shimmered like spun glass. It stretched between the trees like a delicate web, each strand glistening with a light of its own. The veil shifted as he drew near, revealing glimpses of strange, fleeting shapes, figures that moved like shadows, their forms delicate and otherworldly, vanishing as quickly as they appeared. Alan reached out, his hand hovering just inches from the veil. He could feel its power, a silent energy that pulsed with the rhythm of the forest. The air around it was alive with whispers, fragments of ancient voices that spoke of secrets long forgotten. He closed his eyes and let the whispers wash over him, filling his mind with images of frost-bound creatures, timeless spirits that move through the shadows, bound to the forest by an enchantment as old as winter itself. When he opened his eyes, the veil had shifted, revealing a narrow path beyond, winding deeper into the forest. Alan hesitated, knowing that to pass through the veil would be to enter a realm where few had ventured, a place that existed beyond the bounds of the mortal world. Yet he felt a certainty, a quiet conviction that this was his path, that the forest had called him here for a reason. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward, and the veil parted like mist, folding around him as he passed through. The air beyond was colder, sharper, filled with an electric stillness. As he moved forward, he could feel the forest watching, its presence as palpable as the frost on his skin. The path twisted and turned, leading him further into the heart of the winter's secret. And with each step, he knew he was crossing into a world woven from shadows and starlight, a place where the boundaries of reality and magic blurred, where the secrets of the forest lay hidden beneath layers of frost and silence. As Alan ventured deeper into the winter's secret, the air grew thick with an ancient, icy magic that clung to him like a cloak of stardust. The trees around him seemed to stretch even taller, their frost-laden branches arching overhead to form a vast, vaulted ceiling, as if he were moving through the cathedral of winter itself. The silence was profound, a deep, resonant quiet that felt almost sacred, as though sound itself had been banished from this place. Then, just beyond a shadowed thicket, a figure emerged, slow and stately, its form ethereal against the stark white of the snow. It was a white stag, larger and more graceful than any creature Alan had ever seen, its coat shimmering with a faint, otherworldly glow. The stag's eyes, deep and blue as midnight skies, held Alan in their gaze, wise and unblinking. For a long moment they stared at each other, the air thick with an unspoken understanding. Alan felt as though the stag could see straight into his heart, weighing his intentions, searching his soul. He lowered his head slightly, a gesture of respect, and the stag inclined its magnificent antlered head in return, a silent acknowledgement that he was welcome here. With a soft rustle, it turned and moved deeper into the forest, its hooves barely touching the snow, leaving behind no tracks. Alan followed, careful to keep his movements slow and reverent, sensing that he was now part of something larger than himself, bound by a pact as old as the forest. The path wound through the trees, lit only by the faint glow of frost and the occasional slant of moonlight. Shadows flickered in the corner of his vision, shapes darting between trees, quick and fleeting as winter winds. At first, Alan thought he was imagining them, illusions spun by the magic in the air. But as he continued, he began to make out their forms, small fox-like creatures with snow-dusted fur and luminous eyes. Their gazes curious but wary. They moved in silence, their delicate paws leaving no mark on the snow, watching him with expressions that felt almost human in their intelligence. Alan felt a chill run through him, not from the cold, but from the realization that these creatures too were guardians of this hidden world. Their eyes held centuries of wisdom, a knowledge of mysteries he could only begin to grasp. The fox-like beings watched him for a while before melting back into the shadows, leaving Alan alone once more. He pressed forward, the silence thick around him, broken only by the soft crunch of snow underfoot. He wondered how many other enchanted creatures lived within the winter's secret, hidden from the world, existing only in this timeless realm of frost and magic. Then, just as he began to feel the weight of the silence settling upon him, he heard it. A faint, lilting melody, delicate and haunting, carried by the wind. It was a sound that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once, filling the air with a sense of longing, of dreams lost and forgotten. The music was unlike anything he'd ever heard, a song woven from the breath of winter itself, ancient and unknowable. He followed the sound, his heart quickening with each step, drawn by its haunting beauty. The path led him through a grove of slender trees, their branches bare and silvered with frost, until he came upon a clearing bathed in a strange, pale light. And there, at the center, was the source of the melody, a circle of stones, each one humming softly with its own note, as if they were singing to each other, weaving a symphony that resonated with the very essence of the forest. Aelin watched in awe as the creatures of the forest gathered around the stones. The white stag, the fox-like beings, and others he had not yet seen. They moved with reverence, their eyes closed, their bodies swaying gently to the rhythm of the song. It was a ritual, a communion between the beings of winter and the ancient magic that bound them to this place. He stood at the edge of the clearing, feeling the music wash over him, filling him with a sense of peace and belonging he had never known. In that moment, he understood that he was not merely an observer. He was part of this, woven into the fabric of the winter's secret, bound by the same magic that sang through the stones and the creatures of the forest. As the melody faded, the creatures turned to him, their eyes filled with a quiet understanding. Aelin felt a surge of emotion, a feeling of connection that transcended words, and he knew that he was welcome here, part of this hidden world, a guardian of its secrets. And as the last note echoed through the trees, he stepped forward, ready to journey deeper into the heart of the winter's secret. Aelin walked through the clearing, leaving behind the hum of the stones and the quiet assembly of creatures, their eyes following him with a reverence he didn't fully understand. The path before him grew narrower, winding deeper into the heart of the forest. Shadows lay thick across the ground, and the air was colder here, filled with a sharpness that pricked at his skin, urging caution with every step. As he continued, he sensed that he was approaching something sacred, a place where the magic of winter itself lay bound, pulsing quietly in the depths of the forest. The trees here were older, their bark etched with frost patterns that glistened like silver filigree. They loomed close, their branches stretching overhead to create an unbroken canopy that blocked even the faintest glimmer of moonlight. The silence here was profound, almost oppressive, and he could feel the weight of the forest's ancient gaze upon him. After what felt like an eternity, the path opened into a small hidden glade, its heart dominated by a strange crystalline structure. There, rising from the ground like a massive frozen bloom, was a crystal in the shape of a heart, suspended between the trees as if grown from the very frost that blanketed the land. It pulsed with a faint blue light, its surface shimmering with a glow that seemed to come from within, illuminating the glade in soft, ghostly hues. Aelin approached, his steps slow and reverent, his eyes fixed on the frozen heart. It was beautiful, yet there was a rawness to its beauty, a chill that seemed to seep into his bones, as if this crystal held the essence of winter itself. He reached out, his hand hovering just inches from its surface, feeling the cold radiate from it in waves. The air around it crackled with energy, a presence that seemed to awaken as he drew near. As his fingers brushed the crystal, a surge of power rushed through him, filling his mind with visions, fragments of memories not his own. He saw images of winters long past, forests cloaked in snow, creatures that had vanished from the world. He felt the heartbeat of the forest, the pulse of magic that had sustained it through countless ages, binding it to the cycle of seasons and the quiet, enduring strength of winter. He saw, too, the faces of those who had come before him, figures shrouded in shadows and mist, each one bearing the same look of wonder and reverence that he felt now. They were guardians, he understood, chosen by the forest to protect its secrets, to keep its magic safe from those who would seek to destroy it. And he, Alan, had been chosen as well, bound by the same enchantment, his fate entwined with the heart of the winter's secret. As the visions faded, he withdrew his hand, feeling a profound sense of connection to the frozen heart, as if a piece of his own soul had been left within its crystalline depths. The light within the crystal pulsed in response, brighter now, filling the glade with a radiant, ethereal glow that cast shadows over the trees and danced along the snow-covered ground. He understood then that the frozen heart was more than just a crystal. It was the essence of the forest, the source of the magic that bound the winter's secret together. It was the heart of the creatures who lived here, the spirit of the snow and ice, a relic of ancient times that held within it the power and mystery of winter itself. As he gazed upon it, he felt the weight of his new role settle upon him, a quiet responsibility that filled him with both awe and humility. He was the forest protector now, bound to this place by the same magic that pulsed within the frozen heart. He would guard its secrets, keep its creatures safe, and ensure that the winter's secret remained hidden from those who would seek to harm it. And with that realization came a sense of peace, a feeling of belonging that he had never known. He was home here, in the quiet, frost-bound depths of the forest, surrounded by the ancient magic of winter and the silent watch of the trees. As the dawn crept toward the edge of the sky, casting the faintest silver glow through the treetops, Alan knew his time within the winter's secret was coming to an end. The air was changing, no longer thick with the pure crystalline cold of night, but shifting to the muted warmth that presaged the sun's arrival. He turned back toward the frozen heart, its faint blue light dimming, the ancient crystal withdrawing its energy back into the silent depths of the forest, as if preparing for another long rest. The creatures of the winter's secret began to emerge from the shadows, gathering silently at the edge of the glade. Their gazes were steady, filled with a profound understanding and an unspoken bond that Alan could feel settling within him. The white stag stood tallest among them, its sapphire eyes meeting Alan's with a gaze both wise and solemn, as if it too understood the weight of his newfound duty. Beside the stag, the fox-like beings with their snow-dusted coats watched him with their quiet, clever eyes, and Alan felt their acceptance. the silent acknowledgement of his place among them. He knelt before the frozen heart, bowing his head, and spoke in a low voice, each word a vow that resonated with the magic woven into this ancient forest. "I pledge myself to the winter's secret," he whispered, his breath forming a cloud that lingered in the cold. "I will guard its heart and protect its creatures. I will keep its secrets, and I will return each winter, bound to this place, bound to its magic." As he spoke, a soft breeze swept through the glade, carrying with it the faint scent of pine and ice, a reminder of the forest's hidden power. The creatures lowered their heads, as if honoring his oath, their silent acknowledgement filling the air with a reverence that made Aelin feel, for the first time, truly part of this world. A deep, comforting silence settled around him, the kind of silence that feels almost like an embrace, warm despite the cold. He rose, and as he did, the forest shifted around him, the trees leaning closer as if to seal his vow in their ancient, unbreakable magic. He could feel their blessing, a quiet power binding him to this land, to its timeless rhythm and the secrets it guarded so fiercely. The white stag stepped forward, pressing its head against his shoulder in a gesture of both farewell and welcome, a mark of acceptance. Aelin reached out, his fingers brushing the creature's icy fur, feeling the steady warmth beneath, the pulse of life that connected them all in this enchanted place. The stag gazed at him one last time, then turned, vanishing into the shadows, its form dissolving into the mist as if it had never been there. One by one, the creatures followed, slipping away into the depths of the forest, leaving Aelin alone with the fading light of the frozen heart. He stood there for a long moment, feeling the weight of his new role settle into him, filling him with a sense of purpose that went beyond mere words. As the first rays of sunlight broke through the trees, the winter's secret began to withdraw, its magic folding back into the earth, the trees, the silent layers of snow. The glade shimmered, then dimmed, and before Aelin's eyes, the forest seemed to dissolve, the ancient trees fading back into the morning mist, hidden once more from the world beyond. Aelin turned and made his way back toward the village, his steps lighter, his heart filled with the quiet strength of the forest's magic. Though the winter's secret had vanished, he could feel it within him, a silent presence that would stay with him through every season, a reminder of the hidden world that waited beneath the snow. As he reached the village, the sun fully rose, casting a golden light over the rooftops and the snow-covered paths. The villagers were stirring, beginning their day with little knowledge of the secret hidden beneath the frost, the enchanted world that lay just beyond their sight. Aelin walked among them, his face serene, his eyes filled with the memory of the winter forest and the creatures he had sworn to protect. He knew he would return each winter, bound by his oath to the frozen heart, a guardian of the winter's secret, keeper of the forest's hidden magic. And when the village whispered once more of the mysterious forest that only appeared in winter, he would smile, his heart warm with the knowledge that he was part of a story that stretched beyond time, a tale written in snow and starlight, hidden in the quiet depths of winter's embrace.